Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers. In this story, we can see that it's about a boy, a penguin, and maybe something to do with the sea. They're not on a boat, they are on an umbrella. Let's find out what happens in their adventure together. On the first page, we can see a suitcase. I wonder what that means. Are they going to go on a journey somewhere? Here they are, walking together by the sea. We can tell it's night time because the moon is out. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. The boy did not know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but didn't know how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbour and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's loud horn. So together, he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. The boy took his rowboat out of the cupboard and they tested it for size and for strength. That's very important for a long journey. They packed everything they would need in their suitcase. And together they pushed the rowboat out to sea. 1, 2, 3, push! They rowed south for many days and nights, with the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything that the boy said. He was telling him an awful lot. They floated through good weather and bad weather, and when the waves were as big as mountains, that must have been pretty scary, until they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again, and the boy helped it out off the boat. Welcome to the South Pole. The boy said goodbye and floated away. But as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever. Oh dear, I wonder why that was. It felt strange to be on his own, and the more he thought, the more he realised he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost, he was just lonely. Quickly, he turned the boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. At last, he reached the pole again, but where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Here we have an arrow, and the boy is going one way, the iceberg is in the middle, and the penguin's going the other way. Do you think they'll be able to see each other? Sadly, the boy set off for home because he couldn't find the penguin. There was no point in telling stories because there was no one to listen except the wind and the waves. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. What could it be? Closer and closer he got until he could see Penguin! And he gave him the biggest hug of all. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. And underneath, they're with whales, which is amazing. And that was the end of our story called Lost and Found. And it's all about being a good friend. Have you been a good friend before? Has somebody been a good friend to you? How can you be kind to someone today? It's our lovely book, Lost and Found, which is inspiring us.